Hey, this is Donna St. Louis here on a take two. I was actually trying to do this a little earlier and my internet connectivity kept giving out because I was sitting by the pool, as I do during this time of year. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit. This came up about monetizing from the stage. Some people were talking about how you cannot really monetize a speech without selling from the stage. And the fact of the matter is that you can monetize your speech. In fact, you can make a lot of money from your speech and monetize it from the stage if you do it right. So let me go ahead and say what's up. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? And I'm so glad to see you here. So let's jump right in on how you do this. So several years ago, I was speaking all the time. You know, I probably did 60 to 80 speeches a year. And I was probably doing somewhere around 7.5 to 10 per speech. And the challenge I was running into was that every one of those speeches that I gave was a speech that I literally hustled and got the gig. Like, it meant that I found the lead, I picked up the phone call, I made the call, I talked to the people, I did the negotiation, and I got the person on the phone. And I did that 60 to 80 times per year. I was not getting any referral business at all. None. Zero, zilch, nada. No referral business, which meant that every single speech that I got was a speech that I hustled for. And what I noticed was I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I'm giving a great speech. It's full of content. I'm delivering the experience. The audience is literally giving me a standing ovation. They're staying around for hugs and pictures afterwards. The content was on point. So I was doing everything that looked like it was right from a speech delivery perspective. If I went and lived by those surveys, I was always getting some of the highest ratings on surveys. So I really couldn't understand why, when everything that I was doing right, was this speech not doing follow-up referrals or anything like that. So let me say hi real quick. Hi, Mark. Hi, Kalia. I think I said it right. Hi, John. What's up? Hi, Carolyn. I just want to say hi real quick. So here it is. I have this speech. Everything's working. And I should be making money from this speech, right? So, I mean, the goal of getting a speech, by the way, is marketing, and it's to get another speech if you're lucky. I wasn't getting that. So something was wrong, right? There was something wrong with my speech. Now, the audience thought it was great. The event planner thought it was fantastic. Everybody thought it was great, except for me. And I sat and I started really deconstructing my speech to try to figure out what was wrong with it. And then I went to the next level. And I started paying attention to speakers who I knew were getting booked from the stage. I mean, great speakers. Some speakers were absolutely fantastic. Some speakers were crap, quite honestly. And I knew some speakers that didn't even stay around to do the handshakes and hugs after their speech. Like, they literally just disappeared beyond the lectern and never saw them again, like a magic trick. And yet and still, these speakers were consistently getting rebooked. So I knew there was something wrong. So let's talk about a few ways that you can monetize your speech from the stage. So the number one thing that people can monetize is their product. Now, by the way, I do have a workshop on the details of how to monetize your speech. If you don't have a product and you don't want to ask, you don't want to sell from the stage, there is a way to tweak your speech and monetize your speech from the stage without any product, anything. I mean, literally get referrals from the stage. I'm not going to go over that in this because I just honestly don't have time. It's a 2-hour workshop. But if you're interested in knowing more about that, I'll put a link. I'm doing an event in Dallas, July 13th and July 14th, specifically to show people how to monetize their speech if they don't have a product, how they get referrals from the platform. This is very different. This isn't about getting referrals from the platform. This is the other ways that you can monetize. So let's talk about those other ways. So and I'll give a link to the event if you're interested in coming to that. Again, it's only going to be for 12 people each event, just saying. So if you want to get in, you got to get in. So let's talk about some of the ways you can monetize. The first thing that people do is they always talk about selling their books. The problem with selling your book is that it's a $20 product. And it's quite honestly not lucrative enough for it to make a significant difference. Like, you would have to sell 20,000, 2,000 of a $20 book to make, $20,000. I mean, it's just not going to make you a whole lot of money. I'm actually coming to England in September, Mark. That was a question someone when I was coming to England. So one of the things that you do, don't just sell your book. That's the first thing. Big mistake to just sell your book. Books are great, but quite honestly, I'm not going to lug around 100 or 200 books from location to location, sell them for $20, and at which I make a $10 profit. So it's not worth it for me to do $2,000 in books. That's just not going to happen. I would prefer to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 from a book. So instead of selling your book, sell your book plus. So maybe you have a book that goes along with a video series. Maybe you have a book that goes along with a webinar. Maybe you have a book that goes along with something else. My point is, do not sell the book, sell a program. What you want to do is whatever you talked about, when people want to know more of that, you want to sell more of that. So even if you did nothing more than had your, and this is normally for associations, not corporate, but for associations, normally you can sell something from the platform, right? So for example, you could sell a program that's a $200 or $400 or $600 webinar, and you can throw the book in for free. And you can make it very clear that now, and by the way, if you have 2,000 people in your audience, right? And most of us don't have those big audiences, but let's just use that. So let's say you have 2,000 people in the audience, and you say, I'm going to sell a $500 program, and that $500 program is going to be is going to be open only for 50 people. Okay, do the math. Like seriously, do the math. So you open that program, and now you do a webinar for 50 people, and you can break that up into 225 people groups. Doesn't matter. But selling a $500 program and saying that only 50 people can get in out of an audience of 2,000 people, you're going to get that business. I tell people generally, the rule of thumb, by the way, is that you want to sell your product for 2 to 5 times the price of the ticket. So if the ticket was only $40, the most that you're going to sell your product for is $200. If the ticket was $100, then the most you're going to sell your product for is about $500. So what you want to do is you want to get right there somewhere in that sweet spot. So if they bought a ticket for $100, the most you can sell for is $500. I would probably sell something for $300, and I'd have an upgrade to $500. That way you get more people. So if you have 1,000 people in the audience, generally you're going to sell about 20% of that audience in a mid to high level rate product, right? So if I had 1,000 people in the audience, I have a true 200 opportunities to sell. 200 people are likely going to buy. If I go and I create high desirability by only making it available to 50 or 100 people and selling it for $500, I'm going to sell out. And I'm not just saying this in jest. This is something I do. I had an audience that was about, it was a breakout session, it was about 250 people or so. And I had a webinar that I sold. It was an $800 webinar. And that webinar sold to, I think it was 35 or 40 people in the audience. So it was about that 20%, right? But 40 people bought an $800 webinar, right? It's easy math, it's easy money. So compare that to, you know, I had those same number of people buy a $20 book, right? The book was a giveaway for the people who bought the webinar. So you want to think of it that way. I usually bring the same number of products that I plan to sell. So if I plan to sell 100 of a webinar, then I'm bringing 100 books. I'm making it that easy. So you want to do something very, very simple. So now you want to make sure that you are, so now you're leveraging that. So how do you now do that without actually selling from the stage? Because some people won't let you sell from the stage. They really won't. Okay, so here's number one. Number one, you want to make sure that you have a slide. So I don't use business cards anymore. I have a slide. That slide has my name, my phone number, all the little details about me, as well as a link. I tell people take a picture of that all the time. Sometimes I'll even put a QR code so they can scan that. When they scan that, if they choose to scan that QR code, or if they choose to go to the URL, that URL is a landing page that lets them know that there's an offer. So that's my one way of selling from the stage without selling from the stage. But it's very clear. And I tell people while I'm doing my speech, I said, by the way, here is my business card, and it's usually on a giant slide. Here's my business card. Make sure you take a look at this business card before you get off the stage. And when you you. And before I get off the stage, make sure you go to the link, because you're going to want to have what's on that link. I didn't even say anything else. Everybody in this room usually has gone to that link before the end, and I've usually gotten those sales before I ever got off the stage, right? And I'll tell people, come up front and get your free book when you, and so they know when, and then I limit it to whether it's 100 or 200, whatever. Here's the other thing. I don't put books in the back of the room. Now, this is a mistake that I see a lot of speakers make, and I mean, we'll hear seasoned speakers do this all the time. They'll say, put your book in the back of the room. Do not put your book in the back of the room. It is by far the dumbest place to put your book. And I don't care how many seasoned experts say this, I literally want to just choke them out. The psychology of it is crystal clear. If I have this product and I put this product in the back of the room, then what happens is people, as they're walking out, are either going to walk to the product or walk past the product. If your friend sees the product and they walk, they glance at it and keep walking, or they glance at it and give it like a look like it's disgusting, or they glance at it and move out of the way, they have actually influenced other people considering taking the product. People who pick it up, look at it, and put it down literally have said that product has no value to it. And they have walked away from it. Why in the hell would I make my product go under that kind of scrutiny? When you get off the stage, people are going to come up to you. I mean, unless you have really bad BO and you yelled at the audience the whole time and you were just a general asshole, people at the end, maybe even then, people are going to come up to you. They're going to rush up to you. Why? Because they want to take pictures. They want to shake your hand. They want to say thank you, all of that good stuff. So take your product and put it at the front of the room. There is only one time I'm going to tell you not to do this, but hear me out. Take your product, put it all the way at the front of the room. Put it next to the stage. That's number one, because people will naturally migrate to the front. The people who are leaving won't even be seen by the people who are coming to the front. So you don't have that crisscross. You don't have that psychology of, I'm not going to even look at that product. That goes away. So that's number one. Number two, your job while you're at the front of the room is to turn that time that you're into the front room a second or encore speech. This is your time. You need to be funny. You need to be on point. You need to be answering questions. You cannot let one person take up all the time. So how do you do that? I always make sure that I have someone called a handler. So I find someone in the room ahead of time and I go, listen, after my speech is over, people are going to come up and they're going to want to handle, or, they're going to want to talk for a long time. And then while I want to talk to them, there's going to be a lot of people. Can you please help me by moving them along and maybe handling some of the things that they purchased, and I'll give you a gift. That gift, by the way, is usually whatever that $500 or $800 product is. I give it to that person for free all the time. Makes all the difference in the world, because now I have a helper while I'm doing my encore presentation, because I don't have time to be sliding cards and passing out books and all of that, right? Or even taking pictures. I try to do all this stuff, all this encore presentation while I'm there. Now, here's the other thing. If you're going to take pictures, again, this is your encore presentation, make it a show. I have very few pictures, by the way, where I'm just like this. Usually my pictures are like, I'm doing something silly with them, right? I have one picture where I have like my leg thrown up and I'm hugging someone, or I grab their leg and they're hugging me, but I really make it an entertaining thing. Why do I do this? Because the people passing by and the people that are even thinking about walking out of the room are now going, what's happening over there? And they tend to walk back. It happens almost every single time. So move your product to the front of the stage. Make sure that you have your products up at the front of the stage. Make sure that you're using a slide that has a link for people to go to. So that way you're not selling from the stage, and yet still you have a product that you can give people. And by the way, if they don't let me have a table at the front of the room, I still tell them that I need a table that has water, that has a glass of water on it. And then I do this other little magical thing. And I left my book all the way over there, and I'm not going to get it. Okay, so this is the other thing I do. I take my book, I have it on stage, for example, right with my water, right with my table, and it's small enough to where I could take it off stage if I need to. And when I'm on stage, I have that already earmarked. So now when I'm on stage, I open it and I read something from it. And then I open to another part and I read something from it. I read something that's valuable to the audience. And then I give it away. Now, I usually have two of these. So I have one and I have one that I'm going to give away. I give it away. And let me tell you what that does. Again, it's a psychology thing. Everybody in the audience is now so jealous that they did not get that. They're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I did not get that book. How did that person get it? I could have raised my hand, right? So, but I just gave it to someone. Sometimes I'll just hold it up there and somebody from the back of the audience always gets up and walks all the way to the front and they take it out of my hand and keep walking. It is a great way to let people know that you have a product that is available for the taking. Literally, always works. So these are the things you want to do. I told you there is this one time. The one time that you want to put your table at the back of the room, and there's only this one time. You are on the last day. You are the closing keynote speaker. Because let me tell you what's happening on the last day, the closing keynote speaker. People are hauling butt to get out of there. Now, remember, it's the closing keynote speaker, literally meaning there is nothing else happening after you. There's not another event. There's not another dinner. There's nothing, literally nothing. The person that's coming on after you is saying goodbye, good night, have a great one. When that person comes on stage after you, you want to make sure that your table then is at the back of the room, because the natural progression of the audience is to leave. However, try not to put it right at the door, again, because you don't want people walking by and going, ew, I don't want that crap. You want to put it close enough to the back so people still migrate that way, but it's not directly at the door. It's the only time I would tell you to put it at the back of the room. Otherwise, it should be at the front of the room. Changes the whole psychology of buyers. Again, don't sell a book because it's just a book. It's a $20 book. Sell a program that goes along with the book. And even if you don't have a book, sell a webinar. It doesn't matter. But you have the opportunity to sell something and monetize your engagement without actually selling from the stage. So let's say, just for argument's sake, and this is the last point, let's say that someone says, well, Dawnna, I will give you 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to sell your product. Do not hard sell your product. At this point, you should have been ensuring that you planted seeds the whole time. So now when you get to the end, you really only need to have 1, maybe 2 lines sell your product. The first line goes something like this. If you'd like to get X results, whatever those results are, then meet me here at the front of the room for your free gift. Or you could say, if you'd like to get X results and you've gone to the link that I showed, and make sure that you have that slide back up there, and you've gone to the link and you followed the instructions, then meet me up front for your free gift. It doesn't matter. The people just heard free gift. They went to that link. Everybody in the room went to that link. They're now going to meet you up front. It doesn't matter what that was. So that's one way of selling from and monetizing your speech. Regardless, I've done this with corporate. I've done it mainly with associations. Associations obviously are usually very open to this. If, however, you're in front of a corporate audience and you still want to be able to monetize your speech from the front of the room, and it also works with an association audience in regards to getting more referrals, then make sure that you meet me July 13th and July 14th. I'm going to be in Dallas. It's right over by where they're having an NSA conference. I am going to do a 2-hour workshop on Friday night, a 2-hour workshop on Saturday morning, and it is specifically how to tweak your workshop, your keynote, or your program. How do you tweak those so that you monetize them better? In other words, so that you get more referrals from the audience. Because let me tell you, I don't care if you speak 1,000 times. If you're not getting referrals, you're missing key ingredients. I figured out this formula. You want this formula. Ever since I started using this formula about a year ago, maybe a little longer than that, every time I get a speech, I get 3 to 4 engagements. And I don't mean 3 to 4 like BS engagements. I mean 3 to 4 full fee engagements. In fact, I have an engagement coming up with Starbucks. I mean, from doing this exact formula. So if you want to do that, if you want to be able to monetize it through referrals, and not just through products, but through referrals, please make sure that you join me July 13th and July 14th. I'm so good at the dates. July 13th in the evening, July 14th in the morning. It's only open to 12 people in Dallas. I cannot be more clear than that. Once it sells out, it is sold out. It's only open to 12 people. And why 12? Because I'm really, really committed to making sure that whatever your keynote or program or workshop or webinar or whatever it is, we're actually going to tweak on the spot. We're going to talk about the pieces that should be added and removed. We're going to tweak on the spot. And so make sure that you join that. Anyway, and I'll put the link up so you can get it. And there's some ads out there to let you know about it. But if you want to get in it, it's only open for 12. Do me a favor. Please, please, please share this. I really would appreciate it if you share it. And then get back to me and tell me how moving your stuff to the front of the room and going from just a book to a program up the game for you and really, like, you know, brought you in some extra ends, because I've made tens of thousands of dollars from doing something so simple even before I had a book. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.